So I wanted to do like a citation list. I mean, I can still do the list in MLA format and whatnot and everything, but I figured if I had done everything else physically visible, then I'd like to kind of make a connection. So this is what I kind of based a lot of my knowledge off of what I know of Kerouac's foundation to the Beat Generation. This is everything from Desolation Blues to San Francisco Blues to Mexico City Blues. Um, like I said, like I got a bunch of stuff to kind of put over into text a little bit because I put a lot on just paper. But I connected that a lot to a Buddhist Bible, which is like a compilation of sutras and words of Siddhartha. And then got a I used a little bit of Barry Miles's understanding of William Burroughs and who he was. I got a really like grasp on the formalities and the the roles of sexes and whatnot, and like how we really broke down definitions of sexuality, but at the same time we closed doors. And Caroline Cassidy, Neil Cassidy's wife, talks about her years with Neil Cassidy, Kerouac, and being with Ginsberg, and how they were essentially intimate, but I have a lot of stuff in the video too showing where it was like very hard for Kerouac because he was from this Catholic side of beliefs, and he felt that he was conflicting with the adultery idea, but then he felt like there was no ownership over people. That was a big thing for Kerouac. That was a big thing about the Beat generation that made it what it was. I got a Straight from the Fridge Dad. It's a kind of like a jive for all of the 50s kind of underground society. I use this in connection to a lot of Kerouac's poems and whatnot. In in comparison, it's very funny because he uses a lot of that language, and I don't understand what a lot of those ideas had double meanings now, or then that they do now. A gargle factory is a bar, I guess. I used two outside kind of like study sources just to. This will go with. So I used death as a big thing. This was published by a friend of a friend of a friend of a family friend long time ago. But it's got. It's a philosophical like kind of compilation about death and about what students of certain colleges and Ivy Leagues at the time had an idea of what death was, and I kind of connected that to the Buddhist sutras and yada yada yada. I like to keep Kerouac in a separate kind of thing, although he did start just like a snowball effect of other things. I used a casebook on the Beat Generation by Thomas Parkinson, and it's really kind of got like everything you need. It's got Gary Schneider. It's got a lot of anything Lawrence Lipton. It's got a lot of just people that weren't like Kerouac, Ginsberg, and Burroughs. They were the McClure. Like there was they go through all of the opinions of those in the Beats. And then I used Tom Wolfe's The Right Stuff, or not The Right Stuff, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. he goes into a lot of definitive details of him and Ken Kesey, who was heavily influenced at the time by Neil Cassidy as well. And then I also wanted to grab a few from my bookshelf. I thought that a good I used here Kerouac's book of sketches was a posthumous this The Haunted Life, I drew that actually just to kind of be just bored, I guess, one time back in the day. But I read this not too long ago, and there's a lot of stuff that explains his willingness to go to war and whatnot. And this is another one I talk about in my textual understanding of things. And then I wanted to do. See, yeah, I got cut. A great one for Jack Kerouac too. I would say is probably Kerouac in Florida, Where the Road Ends, because he died essentially in Florida. But I wanted to connect My Education by William S. Burroughs to a book I have called How to Interpret Your Own Dreams, and I use some of that throughout, kind of to understand his persona and like what was going on through his mind, because that was probably the most of the drug-addled idea of state of mind. I use a lot of Dharma bums, so this is one of my all-time favorite books to annotate, and like I mean I gobbled this book up at a time in my life for sure. Another one is Maggie Cassidy. I thought that's very funny. It goes in hand with the other thing, with Miss Cassidy. His first, I believe this was his first ever published book, The Top and Underwood, and they're a bunch of short stories kind of about the war. This is one of my favorite books of all times. Jack Kerouac and William S. Burroughs and the hippos were boiled in their tanks is absolutely one of the most brilliant post-humanist published books of all time. Like it's really great. I also thought that this was kind of funny too. I saw a little bit of William S. Burroughs kind of come out in a sense of he was more human being than he was what he made himself out to be, and all these other disgusting books of his. You know, there's some of the books he wrote are just, they have these a sense of something was disturbed in Burroughs, and something was definitely disturbed in Burroughs. I don't think that there's much more that I really